Welcome one and all back to F1 2021 and welcome to the 6th episode in the F2 Hotlap and Setup series. We're here at Circuit Paul Ricard in La Castellet, France, racing on the 5.842 kilometre circuit, 15 corners, 2 DRS zones, what's predominantly used as a test track until F1 returned to the circuit in 2018 for its first race back here. And of course, the blue and red lines, iconic with the circuit, will almost make it, famous as such. Our lap put us P4, 1 minute 40.695, just sort of 0.2 off the fastest in the world. In the ART, the French team for the French circuit. 7.5 with the aero, having that front a little bit high just helps get the nose in to some of these corners. 20% on, 80% off. Again, helps with the rotation in the traction zones. Can be a little bit sketchy though when getting the power on. Front camber, rear camber, front toe and rear toe quite high. Thinking about the grip on this circuit is really important. The corners make up the majority of this lap. Suspension, pretty soft, a little bit higher on the rear. Suspension just helps, with the rotation and almost makes the rear end a little bit more locked. But overall, we were pretty soft. A lot of curbs on this lap, and you do run a little bit wider. That just helps, it must be said. 54% on the brake bias, bit of personal preference. And then tyres completely maxed out. It's going to help with the throwing the car in, and that just keeps the car a little bit more responsive, especially in a lot of these demanding corners. Some of the entries are really aggressive, like turn 1, like turn 3, and again, the big turn 11. Down towards turn number 1 we go, braking just sort of in between the two spots of curbing there. Really throw the car in aggressive. You want to be nice and tight, because that then opens up the second part as you wind the power on, running down towards turn 3 and 4. Picking out your braking spot for turn 3, just about 75 metres, really aggressive on the entry, and turn 4, use all the curbing there and helps sort of bring the car around. Now you want to almost treat this as one sweeping corner as you move your way into turn 6 and wind on the power to now run down the Mistral straight towards turn number 8. DRS will be wide open as of now, and now you've got to think about that braking zone. Turn 8 and 9, I found it really, really difficult while doing the lap. You're braking, well, just after that bit of curbing there, throw the car in and drop it down into second for the second part. We run a little bit wide, lose the time, lose about 1/10 of a second there. And that corner was really difficult because throwing the car into 8 determines how your 9 went. And again, we were a little bit wide there, took a little bit to the curb, and that shoved the car wide, flat out through turn 10 and heading down towards turn 11. Another iconic corner on this circuit, dropping it into third gear eventually, and then wind the power back on as you almost want to think about that exit as one flowing movement. And now up into turn 12 we go. Drop it in a second gear for a brief moment just to help with the traction and help with the rotation a tiny bit. And now running down towards the final two corners of 14 and 15. Really nice sweeping corner this, I found. You almost want to jump on the curb a little bit here. We could have been a little bit tighter, to be perfectly honest. Into second gear for the final corner. Slight dab of curb and wind on the power. DRS wide open. And it's going to be a small improvement of about half a tenth as we do a 1 minute 40.695. And that lap was putting us P4, I believe, in the overall standings. Pretty good lap. Again, time to be found. It was this track, I just found it was so hard to get each little bit right. Turn 1, you'll be really aggressive on the inside and take a lot of curbs. You'll be absolutely destroy that yellow little bollard. But, well within track limits at that moment. That opens up the second part. Now down towards turn 3 and 4. Could have been a bit tighter on the curbing, keeping that yellow bollard in full tact. But again, on that curbing around turn 4, nice and aggressive. Turn 5, 6 and 7 treat as one corner, one flowing sweep around, and it just helps visualising getting the power on and gets you a much better run onto the Mistral straight. DRS wide open now. And now thinking about that braking zone for turn 8 and 9. Again, we could have been a lot better in turn 8 and 9 on this lap. We saw the delta loss of speed. Throw the car in, clip the curb a bit too much, and also just we ran a bit wide generally. That sort of messed up our turn 9, and then getting the power down was a lot more difficult than I found on that previous lap that the delta was running to. Through turn 10 we go completely flat, even in the F2 cars. Of course, it's completely flat. Great corner, and then dropping down into turn 11, another brilliant corner. One long flowing sweeping change of direction into third gear, and then drive out the corner. Sort of when you get a nice flowing exit in towards turn 12, nice and tight on the curb, and then get the power down as best you can. And we've just got 2 more corners to go, turn 14 and 15. And the car now flicks towards us. Keep it nice and tight. You want to come back on yourself as much as you can, because that then opens up the final corner and gets you a good run to the line. The line is actually quite far down this straight. You would imagine it comes a lot sooner, but it is a little bit actually after sort of pole position mark. But that's a lap and setup around France. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll see everybody soon for another F2 lap, or maybe even a future race series.